What if some of what you're carrying cannot be resolved by thinking harder? What if your body isn't waiting for another explanation, another breakthrough, or another attempt to talk yourself out of what you feel? What if it's waiting for movement, a walk, a stretch, a deeper breath, a chance to shake, sway, reach, run, or simply put one foot in front of the other? Because sometimes the mind understands that something is over, but the body is still bracing as though it's happening. Sometimes we know we're safe, but our shoulders remain lifted. Our jaw stays tight. Our breathing remains shallow. Our stomach knots when something reminds us of the past. And sometimes without consciously knowing why, we feel restless, heavy, disconnected, or exhausted. The body remembers. But here's the hopeful part. The body can also learn something new. It can experience safety again. It can rediscover strength. It can remember what freedom feels like. And movement can help lead us there. Everybody, welcome to the Soul Talk podcast, where we explore the connection between the mind, the body, and the way we move through our lives. I'm Marybeth Hrim. I'm a licensed clinical social worker with 30 years of experience in mental health, and I'm also an RRCA certified running coach and someone who has personally experienced the healing power of movement. And this is week 3 of our series of Movement is Medicine. In week 1, we talked about why human beings were made to move. In week 2, we explored how moving the body can change the mind. Today, we're going deeper. We're talking about how our experiences can remain present in the body and how movement may help us process, release, and gently heal what words alone cannot always reach. If conversations about movement, mental health, wellness, and becoming more fully alive resonate with you, please take a moment to subscribe to the Soul Talk podcast and also my YouTube channel. And if you know someone who has been carrying more than they can explain, consider sharing this episode or this podcast with them. Now, let's talk about what it really means when we say the body remembers. There are experiences we remember as stories. We can describe what happened, where we were, who was there, and also how it affected us. But there are also experiences we remember through sensation. A racing heart, a tight chest, a feeling of wanting to just run, an urge to become very still, a sudden wave of exhaustion, a sense that something is wrong, even when we cannot identify an immediate threat. That doesn't mean the body isn't working against us. It often means the body learned how to protect us. When we experience prolonged stress, loss, fear, disappointment, or trauma, the body responds. Muscles tighten, breathing changes, our attention becomes focused on detecting danger. We may prepare to fight, get away, shut down, or keep everyone around us happy so that conflict can be avoided. These responses are not character flaws. They are not signs that we are weak, dramatic, or incapable of moving on. They are protective responses. Because the body does not ask, will this reaction be convenient later? It asks, what do I need to do to help this person survive right now? And those responses, can be incredibly useful in the moment. The difficulty comes when the moment passes, but the body doesn't receive the message that it can stop protecting us in the same way. The emergency ends, yet we remain on alert. The relationship ends, yet we're still waiting for the next criticism. The crisis passes, but we cannot completely exhale. We leave the situation, but part of us feels trapped inside. That's why understanding something intellectually doesn't always change how we feel physically. You may know that you no longer need to prove yourself, but your body still feels anxious when you rest. You may know that someone else's anger isn't your responsibility, but your stomach still tightens when their tone changes. You may know that the painful experience happened years ago, but your heart still races when something in the present feels and even slightly similar. Because the mind may say, that was then. The body may say, but what if it happens again? And this is where compassion becomes so important. Instead of becoming frustrated with the body, we can begin listening to it. Instead of saying, why am I still like this? We can ask, what is my body trying to protect me from? Instead of forcing ourselves to calm down, we can become curious about what the body needs in order to feel supported. Sometimes it needs rest. Sometimes it needs space. Sometimes it needs a safe person. And sometimes it needs to move. Movement gives the body somewhere for its energy to go. Think about what happens when an animal senses danger. Its an entire body prepares for action. It may run, fight, freeze, or shake. Human beings have many of those same instinctive responses, but we've also learned to override them. We still sit during stressful meetings. We swallow our anger. We hold back tears. We keep smiling when we want to leave. We remain polite when every part of the body is telling us something is wrong. We get through the day because we have responsibilities. We have families, careers, and people who depend on us. That ability to continue functioning can be a strength, but the body may still be holding the energy that had nowhere to go. This doesn't mean every uncomfortable feeling requires an intense workout. Healing is not about punishing the body or pushing it until it becomes too tired to feel. Movement can be gentle. It might be walking around the block after a difficult conversation, rolling your shoulders after hours of tension, stretching your arms overhead and allow yourself to take up space, shaking our hands after receiving upsetting news, swaying slowly to a song that makes you feel connected to yourself. It also might be running, swimming, dancing, practicing yoga, or working in your garden. It could be anything that allows the body to participate in what you're feeling. But sometimes movement creates just enough space for an emotion to become clear. You begin walking because you feel restless. And 10 minutes later, you realize that beneath the restlessness is anger. You begin stretching because your back feels tight. And suddenly, notice how tired you are of carrying responsibility for everyone else. You go for a run, believing you need to clear your head. And halfway through, the tears come. Movement doesn't create those feelings. It gave them room to notice and be noticed. I've spent almost 30 years working in mental health, and I believe deeply in the value of words. There's power in telling the truth. There's power in naming what happened. There is power in being heard by someone who can remain present with our experience. But I also know we cannot always think our way into feeling safe. We cannot always explain our way out of grief. And we cannot always use logic to persuade a body that learned to brace itself long before we had words for what was happening. Sometimes healing needs to include an experience, not only an insight. The body needs to feel what it is like to move without being chased, to become strong without needing to fight, to rest without being punished, to take up space without apologizing, to stop when it has had enough, to choose its own pace. That is one reason movement can become so meaningful. Movement can give us a lived experience of choice. You can speed up, you can slow down, you can change direction, you can pause, you can stop, and you can begin again. Those may sound like small decisions, but for someone who has spent years feeling powerless, disconnected, or controlled, these choices can matter. Every time you listen to your body and respond with care, you are building trust. You are saying, I hear you. You do not have to scream to get my attention. I will not abandon you when you become uncomfortable. We can move through this together. I mean, my own relationship with movement has taught me that healing does not always look dramatic. Sometimes healing looks like lacing up your shoes on a difficult morning and stepping outside. Not because you're trying to run away from your life, but because you want to return to it more fully. And sometimes it looks like walking slowly enough to notice your breathing. Sometimes it looks like choosing a shorter route because your body needs kindness more than it needs another achievement. And sometimes healing looks like discovering that the body you may have criticized, ignored, or pushed for years has been trying to carry you home. Movement has never been only physical for me. It has helped me meet fear. It has helped me move through uncertainty. It has reminded me that strength is not the absence of vulnerability. Strength is the willingness to stay connected to myself while vulnerability is present. As running has taught me that discomfort changes. A difficult mile does not mean the entire run will be difficult. A moment of doubt does not mean I have to quit. And slowing down does not mean I am failing. Those lessons extend far beyond running. They apply to grief, anxiety, change, relationships, and the long process of becoming who we really are. Healing rarely happens in a straight line. There are days when we feel strong and connected, followed by days when something old rises up again. It's normal. That doesn't mean we have gone backwards. The body may be responding to a sound, a date, a place, a facial expression, or a sensation that resembles something from the past. And sometimes we understand the connection. Sometimes we don't. Our work is not to judge the response. Our work is to notice it and decide how we want to care for ourselves now. I mean, that may sound like my chest feels tight. Let me slow my breathing down. My hands feel restless. Let me shake them out. I feel trapped. Let me step outside and walk. I feel disconnected. Let me place my feet firmly on the ground. I feel angry. Let me move this energy in a way that does not hurt me or anyone else. And I feel exhausted. Maybe the movement I need today is simply reaching my arms up, taking one breath, and then resting. Movement isn't about bypassing our emotions. It's not about telling ourselves to go for a walk instead of facing what hurts. It's not. It's actually about allowing the body to be part of the healing process. We can walk and grieve. We can stretch and feel angry. We can run and feel uncertain. We can dance and still be carrying sadness. Joy and pain can exist in the same body. Movement does not erase what happened. It helps remind us that what happened is not the only thing living inside us. There's also breath. There's strength. There's choice. There's rhythm. There's the possibility of a new experience. If you want to explore this for yourself, I want to offer you a sample practice. You don't need special clothing, equipment, or certain level of fitness. Just begin noticing your body as it is right now, without trying to change anything. Notice your jaw. Are you clenching it? Notice your shoulders. Are they up to your ears? Notice your hands. Notice your breath. Notice where you feel open and where you feel guarded. Then ask yourself one gentle question. If my body could choose one movement right now, what would it be? What would it choose? Don't search for the perfect answer because there isn't one. Maybe your shoulders want to roll. Maybe your hands want to stretch. Maybe your feet want to press into the floor. Maybe you want to stand, sway, walk, or take one long breath. Maybe your body wants to become very still. Stillness can be a choice too. Follow the smallest impulse that feels supportive, not the movement you think you should do. Notice the movement that burns, not the movement that burns the most calories, not the movement that proves you are disciplined, but the movement your body is asking for. Then notice what happens. Does your breath change? Does something soften? Do you feel warmer, more grounded, or more present? Does an emotion arise? There's no correct result. The practice is simply to listen and respond. Because over time, this can begin to change your relationship with your body. Instead of treating the body as a problem to control, you begin experiencing it as a source of information. Instead of demanding that it perform, you learn how to partner with it. Instead of moving against yourself, you begin moving with yourself. And that may be one of the deepest forms of healing available to us. The body remembers what hurt, but it can also remember what helped. It remembers the walk that allowed you to breathe again, the song that brought you back to yourself, the moment you stop pushing and choose care, the finish line you once believed you could never reach, the strength in your legs, the rhythm of your feet, the feeling of moving forward after a season when you thought you were completely stuck. Every supportive experience gives the body new information. It says, this moment is different. I have choices now. I can feel something difficult without being consumed by it. Can move, pause, rest, and begin again. My body is not my enemy. My body is trying to bring me home. And healing does not require us to forget. It does not require us to pretend that something didn't matter. And it doesn't mean we will never feel activated, afraid, or overwhelmed again. Healing means we develop new ways of staying with ourselves when those feelings arrive. It means the past may still speak, but it no longer gets to make every decision. It means we can honor what the body remembers while helping it discover what is possible now. So as you move through the rest of your day, pay attention to what your body might be asking for. Maybe it needs a walk. Maybe it needs music. Maybe it needs to stretch or shake or breathe or rest. You do not have to make it profound. One caring movement can be enough to begin. Your body has carried you through every version of your life. It has protected you, adapted for you, and continued showing up, even when you felt disconnected from it. So perhaps today, instead of asking your body to do more for you, you can ask what you can do with it. Walk with it, listen to it. Let it set the pace, because the body remembers, but it also learns. And every time you move with awareness, compassion, and choice, you offer it a new memory, a memory of safety, a memory of strength, a memory of freedom, a memory of coming home to yourself. I want to thank you so much for spending this time with me today. And if this episode spoke to you, please subscribe and share it with someone who may need it, and leave a comment telling me what kind of movement helps you feel most like yourself. And next week, we'll continue our Movement in Medicine series by exploring another important part of our relationship with movement. And remember, you don't have to force your way forward. Listen to your body. Let movement meet you where you are, and take the next step in your own time. Until next time, I'm Marybeth Hrim.